Well, welcome back to another video from the Clark & Addison Gaming Company. My name is Brian Hafferkamp. I'm the designer and creator here at Clark & Addison, and in this video I'm going to show you sort of the third phase of Diamond Dynasty, which is a new general management / career mode baseball game. In previous videos we've gone over the playing out a whole season, and I've also talked through player creation and team creation for the different teams. And then this financial section here is the final part of finishing a season. So you would deal with your rosters. Second part of the season is to play out all the games. In this season, Brookdale took the championship home over Port Morgan. And then here, we need to finish out the third phase, which is our financial phase. And then after that, the off season starts again, in which you do all your roster management. So that's the cycle. There's sort of three main phases to the game, and it's off season, regular season, and playoffs, and then doing your financial wrap up. So all of that happens in the course of one season, and hopefully when you get into the groove of it, it should take 30 minutes or so to be able to finish everything out. If you think through the roster section and that kind of thing, it might take a little bit more time. And I've created a tool which might help in the end. So you can see here, hopefully there's no glare, but I created a little application here that when you click it, it generates, it's just a player generator. And initially I had, where was it at? Initially, I created this just list of 11 to 66 roll, and then you have first and last names here, which will suffice to get you names, but I've actually hooked this up to a random name generator that should give you names from Western US, UK, Australia, and also Hispanic names, so from Mexico or Cuba. So when you click here to generate a regular player, it gives you the name of the player, it gives you the skill, age, and then it automatically calculates the salary. And if there are any stars, then it'll show you that as well. So each time you just go through Fernando Kuhn, 3, he's a rookie, and his salary is 3. This guy is on the brink of retirement, Benjamin Riley. Julio Cesar Verduzco. And then we have a 5-star here. So he's 5 stars, but he is at the retirement age. His salary is going to be a 7, and he has 2 stars. So you can see how that works. Joshua Long. And then when you need to do a rookie, you can generate a rookie down here, because rookies have a little bit of a different skill scale. I don't want to say that too fast. So a rookie can either be skill level 1, 2, or 3. They can't get into 4s or 5s. So when you need to do a rookie, we have this here. So Alan Rogers is a skill 1 rookie. Sammy Gwynn is a skill 2. Justin Hudson is a skill 3. So that worked out perfectly. These are totally random whenever you make them. So you can see, you just tap the button and it gives you a new rookie. You tap the button up here, it gives you a new player, Gabino Moya, maybe we call him Gabby, Oliver Tejeda, and then you just sort of go through and it tells you what their starting salary is. So whenever you're making your rosters, that would be super easy, a lot easier on your hands maybe than rolling dice for everyone, or when you're creating a list of free agents, that would be super helpful. So just created that little tool over the last couple of days, and so I'll put that on GitHub, and then that'll be available for whenever anyone is testing the game, if they want to do that instead of rolling dice. Of course, you can always just take 2 dice, which I've been doing, and use this sheet here, which this whole league here has been done just by rolling against their first and last names. All right, so let's get into the subject of this video, which is the financial section. So we're just going to move through this one team at a time. We'll start with Port Morgan. So they don't have any gains carried over from the previous season. The previous season was year 2. And we can see the previous season here. Port Morgan, you can see they lost $32. So they're carrying over a loss into the new season. Let's put this for reference. And we put that here. Losses carried over from the previous season. And they had a... I gave them a +1 because they were the runner-up this year. So I'll give them that. And so there's nothing here. And now we look at team wins. And if we go to their wins here, we can see that Port Morgan won 4 games. So we put down 4 wins for them. And their gate revenue is $8 per win. 8 times 4 is 32. And then we give $2 for every star player. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 star players means that they get $10. So they've covered their losses up to this point. Their total income is $42. And then we go down to their expenses again. They brought a loss of 31. Their team players, I need to get rid of this part here. So their team player salary is just their added salary. That'll be a 38. So now you can see they're only at $4. Facilities, 2 per season. And now they're at $40 total. And then we do net income minus expenses. 42 minus 40 is a $2 surplus. So they had $2 left over. They covered this huge loss by winning games. That's really what it comes down to. Their team matured, and they have a lot more stars here. You can see nobody was a free agent. I kind of marked down where the free agents are. They have all homegrown players, and they took a huge loss in the year before. But as their players have grown, which they went from where's that? So year 1 to year 2. This is year 2 to year 3. Sorry. They went from a 26 to a 31. They got a little bit older. Their salary went up by 10 because they had these 2 stars, and they went from 2 stars to 7 stars. So you can see how the team has grown from year to year, but you're going to take a big loss whenever you're rebuilding your team as a young team. So those are team building strategies that you have to decide, and you have to put in place. You know, do I want to lose money and then win for the future? Do I want to get rid of some of those young players and try to sign some free agents who are maybe a little older, but also are going to cost more in the long run, but they're also going to help you win games? So you're sort of taking a chance either way. And you can see all the teams were relatively even, but their records were not. So Shady Springs, they're going to lose quite a bit of money just because their salary was very close to everybody else's salary. One team won 5 games, one team lost 5 games. So you can see with a 4-team race, you're going to have like quite a bit of fluctuation between the 2 teams. So you're going to have kind of a wild variance of teams getting money and coming back and that kind of thing. So this is Port Morgan. They're finished. They wind up miraculously covering a $31 loss from the previous season. They have avoided extinction. I have a rule that says if a team loses money for 3 years in a row, then they fold and you have to build out a new team. So they have avoided that fate, and they had lost money the first two seasons, which I have here. So you can see season 1, they lost 6, and season 2, they lost 32. So they've avoided that extinction for season 3, and actually came in as the runner-up. So they're sort of building it the right way, so to speak. There's lots of cool little nuance like that in the game. If you're looking for something like this that focuses more on roster management and financial management than necessarily playing the games themselves, then this is probably a great game for you. This is the kind of game I've been wanting to play for a long time. This is the whole reason I started playing Out of the Park. I think for years. So I started, a little background with me, I started with these simulation games back. It was Out of the Park 3. So that had to be 2000, oh gosh, 2002, 3, 4, something like that, somewhere around there. And that was when I first picked up Out of the Park. And I loved it immediately. So it was the kind of game I was looking for. And I couldn't find it because all that was back then were sort of, joystick jockey kind of games where you're actually playing each of the players. You're throwing pitches and swinging the bat and all that kind of stuff. And so Madden had introduced me more to a GM mode. Madden and the original college football from EA Sports, they had a sort of a GM type mode where you could run the team without having, and you could just simulate games. You didn't have to play them. So I just did, I don't know, dozens of seasons, maybe hundreds, I don't know, probably hundreds of seasons of that. And then there were a couple of other computer games I think that I had. I wound up finding Baseball Mogul. I wound up finding Football Mogul, which you could do the same things where you didn't have to play the games. And then I found Out of the Park, where you could do a deep season replay with free agency and trades and all that kind of stuff. And Out of the Park 3, 4, 5, those are like maybe 6. Those are like the sweet spot for me. So every year I would upgrade to the new one, get the new license and all that kind of stuff. And then after Out of the Park 6, things changed. And then once they started going to the year, I kind of started to fall away from Out of the Park. It got a little bit too convoluted for me, I guess. Out of the Park 6 was probably the last one that I felt like it straddled the line between realism and game. And I wanted a little bit more gaminess to kind of move through the seasons a little easier. Out of the Park 5, to me, that's like the sweet spot of the game. 5, 6, 6.5, something like that is like the sweet spot of Out of the Park for me. Unfortunately, I don't think that works anymore. If anybody works at Out of the Park and is watching this or knows, I would love to be able to get that for my computer, but I don't know that it's going to work on newer systems. But it's a great game. Have always loved Out of the Park. I enjoy the financial aspect of it. I enjoy the GM aspect of the game. So that was right up my alley. Only toward the later parts of it did I actually start playing the games. Most of the time I was just simulating seasons and would do like a week at a time or a month at a time. And then, I was doing a lot of trades and roster management and stuff like that. So this has a little bit of that feel. I'm bringing in the stars like you would have in that game. I don't know if they use stars anymore. I don't think so. But in the earlier versions, they had like 1 through 5 stars, and you could have like a half star. To me, that's like a super quick reference as to what kind of player this is or what kind of potential he had. They had potential and actual, which I also thought was very cool. There's a lot of ways you can go with this game. I don't know if it would get too convoluted being on a tabletop. So this is going to be sort of the first iteration. And maybe there are more things that we can layer in, like a farm system where you draft rookies, or you have to create more rookies to fill your farm system. You could do a contracts where a player gains skill, but his salary doesn't necessarily change. And so maybe they're on 2-year contracts, and maybe he's a great value for the first 2 years. But then if he has to bump up his salary to match his new skill level, maybe it's time to trade him or cut him. There's trading that could happen in the game, although I think that's a little bit more difficult. So we're going to go with more of a cut and sign system, where in the first 3 weeks you can cut any players on your roster and sign free agents to fill those gaps. But you are going to have to pay, let's say, half of their salary or something like that. So, excuse me. And maybe if you wanted to go all the way and prorate the salary, if you cut him in after week 1, you have to pay him most of his salary, or you only have to pay him for like a portion of his salary. If you cut him in week 3, you pay half, that kind of thing. All right, let's get back to it. This is Pine Hollow, so that's just like a little roadmap where I plan to go. They carried over $8 from the previous season. So you can see here, they actually carried a loss into season 2, and they had a terrific season. Pine Hollow wound up, what were they? They won the championship. So they were 6-0, and they took home, they did as well as you can do. 6 wins is going to net you $48. And so $48 is the max that you can do, the wins that you can get from gate revenue. They had 5 star players, so they got $10 in bonus money, a star player bonus, and so they had a $58 income. That's about as good as you're going to be able to do for the most part. But you can see they lost a lot of players. They dropped some to free agency. They lost a couple to retirement. But they carried a loss, and they still blew past that loss and wound up with, so they needed all that $58 to cover the team's salary, which was huge, and their facilities. I also want to include more with the facilities too. I think maybe you can build up your stadium and get more money in different ways, and maybe that will be something we can do with this facilities. All right, team wins for Pine Hollow. Pine Hollow went 2-4. So 2 team wins nets them $16 of gate revenue. They get $2 per star player. They have 3, so that's 6, and they wind up with $22 as their income. They didn't carry over any losses. Team player salary is $38, so you can see they did not even cover their team player salaries, and they're going to have a 40. So total expenses are 40, and their total income, I guess we should add that plus 8, so it should be 30. So we have to add the gains that they carried over, so they should have $30. And 30 minus 40 is minus 10. So they carry a deficit into the next season as they lost $10. Now Pine Hollow have had, where's my my yearbook? Pine Hollow has had 1 lost season, and then they came back and they had a positive season. So the only team that was in danger of going away was Port Morgan. All right, so we look at our backside. Brookdale carried an $11 profit into the series, or into the season. Their season wins are 5, so they won the championship. I had added that $3 here, so that's the championship bonus. So 5 times 8 is 40, and they get 2 per star player. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another $10. And the rich sort of keep getting richer here. 50, 61 is their total income, and no losses carried over. Team player salaries are at 38. Facilities, a couple of bucks. And so they're on the hook for 40, and we have 61 minus 40, so they carry a $21 net into the next season. So that $21 they can use to do any sort of a team. They can do any permanent upgrades here, like build a training facility, or hire a star scout so they can draft 1 extra rookie at a guaranteed skill of 3. They can build an analytics department, or hire a coaching staff, etc. Or they can use these for like single season types of things, so they can gain a $1 bonus in their income this season. There's one here, $1 per win. That would be a good one. So you pay $2 and you get $1 for every. And so instead of $8 per win, you get $9 per win. So lots of different things you can do there. So we got another team here, Shady Springs. Shady Springs in the season before came in as the runner-up. They carried over an $11, positive $11 into this season. In the season we just finished, though, they only won one game, so they're going to need that $11, as they have $8, $2 per star player, 1, 2, 3, 4, so another 8, and that's going to be 16 plus 11 is 27 was their total income. No losses that they carried in. We'll get rid of that. Team player salary is $37, so you can see they're already under. They have $2 here, so that is a $39 expense, and so they are going to come in at a -12. So you can see that they lost $12 in this season. Shady Springs has only been positive cash flow for the first 2 seasons, but that is the final part of it. I'm going to go ahead and fill out the Season 3 yearbook. So we'll just do that here. And this is just a little something that I put together. So we want to have our standings. And we look here. If you look in the final season, or the final week of the season, you can see what our final standings were. So Brookdale was the champion of the regular season. They are 5-1, and they won the championship. Port Morgan, they were 4-2. Pine Hollow was 2-4, and Shady Springs were 1-5. Okay, so that's our final standings for Season 3. And let's also do our financial recap. And this just constitutes like what did everybody wind up with. So Port Morgan wound up with a $2 surplus. Pine Hollow had a $10 deficit. Brookdale with a $21 carryover, and Shady Springs was the big loser with a $12 deficit. Okay, so we keep track of that. The next part is Hall of Fame. Let's see if anyone retired with 2 stars. And this would constitute anyone with a 5 who is also 2 stars. So nothing there, nothing there. And we'll see if that changes with these guys here. But so none of the 2-star players, so we don't have any Hall of Famers yet. And let's see future stars. And future stars, you can see over here, I marked that down. Future stars are rookies with a level 3. So if they have a rookie designation and they are a level 3, then that makes them a future star. So not here. Connor Barnes. That's an OR. Connor Barnes is with Pine Hollow. So he is a star in the making, and they actually have 2. Amir Delgado. So these are young players who are right at the cusp of actually gaining a star. So Pine Hollow, even though they lost $10 in this season, you can expect them to be back with those 2 star players. Let's see, over here, anyone? Yep, Blaine Barnes. So the Barnes brothers. He's with Brookdale. Maybe they're cousins. And anyone over here, we do. Leo Holland is a future star, so he's actually already a star. He was a free agent pickup, a rookie with a 4. So Shady Springs. Yeah. So those are our future stars. So the future looking bright for Pine Hollow, and also Brookdale and Shady Springs. Not so much for Port Morgan, who did well this season. They have one player who's in retirement. They don't have any future stars because they had all the future stars in the previous season, I think. So you can see here they had 2 future stars before, Isaiah Reyes and Owen Ramirez. And you can see that Isaiah Reyes did get a star in his second season, and Owen Ramirez also the same. So in his second season, he did improve and he got that single star. So, so that's a little yearbook that I keep for everybody. We'll see. We'll see if there is any Hall of Fame players that come out of that, because there's some who have to roll for early retirement. So that is sort of a conclusion of the financial aspect of the game. Again, you just sort of go through here, and then any losses or income would get carried over to the next season. So when you print out a new sheet, then you would go through and you would do that. So hopefully this gives you a pretty well-rounded view of the game. There are 3 phases. There's sort of the roster building phase. There's the playing out each individual game of the season, and that's, you keep that log here. And then there's the financial section, and the bulk of the game is going to be here in the off season and the player roster management. Again, if you look at the off season chart here, you can see that you go through these different progressive options that you do. So everybody does team upgrades, everybody does off-season events if you're going to include that. Excuse me. And then everyone does their retirements, and then everyone does their player development. Everyone goes through the player cuts. So you would cut any players. I tend to do these 2 things together, just because if you write with a pencil, then you can erase the players if you bring them over to your sheet and you don't want to keep them. But I do these 2 things together. So I look at their player development and decide, do I want to cut them? And then I draft and create rookies for every team. So up to 2 per team. If you have more than 2 open slots in your roster, then you can use free agency. But if you only have 1 or 2 open roster spots, those will be filled in with rookies that you draft. And then you fill in the remaining spots with any free agents. And again, I've just been writing the free agents on the backside, whatever the season here is. So these were the free agents from season 2. And then the free agent order goes from worst team to the best team. So the worst team gets to choose the free agents first. That'll give you some sense of like who you need to cut. What positions do you need to draft for and roll for the rookies? So that's a little bit too. And I covered that in one of the videos already. And then you just fill in the rest with your free agents. These are your optional off-season events. This gives you a little bit of free agents. So the players are bought at a standard value. Once a team passes, you're done with the phase. So each team gets to assign their free agents, and then you go to the next team. These are your player aging and player development. This is drafting and creating rookies. You can see when you roll for a rookie, you have that skill level 1, 2, 3. That's what I was showing you on the app. Otherwise, this is your normal player development here. And then this role is modified depending on what year the player is in. So is he a rookie, in his prime, a veteran, aging, or if he's in his final year, there is no other option. You have to retire those players. So anybody that's a year 5, and then that age is here. So this guy here, Josh Holloway, he had to retire because he was a 5. Same thing here. He had to retire. Malik Vaughn, even though he was a star player, he had to retire because he was in year 5. So once the season rolls over to the new season, you do have to retire those players, which we'll have some of those here. So this guy, Amir Talbot, not a great player, but just an average player, he will have to retire. And then these 4s, you can see here when it's a 4, they're an aging veteran. They're going to get a -2 to their to their development roll. But before you even get to there, you have to roll them for retirement. So you would use here, if they roll a 1 or 2, that player retires immediately, even though he could have 1 year left. If he rolls a 3, 4, 5, or 6, then that player returns for 1 more year, and then you would use the -2 on the development roll. So typically, if you go up here, it's more regression or no change. The higher the roll, the more that player can grow. So you can see that at a -2, the best they can do is a slight growth, but it'll typically be no change or regression. At a -1, the best that player can do is to have a growth spurt or slight growth. Actually, the best they can do is the slight growth. No, a growth spurt, right? And then, they're not going to have a breakout. But a rookie or a player in his prime is going to have a better chance at a breakout. But if you are into the veteran status, you're not going to get a chance at that breakout, which is most likely how it should be done. So that is all the different phases of the game. The off season, like I said, would be the next. So you go from this, you finish the season, you finish the financials, and then the next step would be right on into year number 4, and you start with the off season with each of the teams. You could also cap yourself at 5 years. You could cap your league at 10 years, or however you want to. You can go for 100 years, whatever you want to do. And you just keep cycling out players. You can have league expansion and add more teams. Like I said, you have options here for a 6-team schedule. If you feel comfortable after 3 or 4 seasons and you wanted to go through league expansion, you can add a couple more teams and start to go through a 6-team schedule. Your playoffs are going to include a semifinal round and a championship round. Same playoff payouts, but you're going to have 3 games per week, right? So week 1, games 1, 2, and 3. This 6-team schedule allows for each team to play the other teams once on the road, once at home, once on the road and once at home. You can see each team will play 10 games, and then you'll have your playoffs. And then if you wanted to expand out again, you can go to an 8-team schedule. Each team would play 14 games. You would have 4 games per week instead of 3. Here you have 2 games per week. Here you have 3. Here you have 4. And then you would have week 1, and here are your matchups. Again, I just mark each team as A, B, C, or D. That way it just kind of helps me. You can go through and you can actually cut these and divide these in half. I just print them front and back because it kind of keeps things easy there. But if you wanted to print these on cardstock and actually cut them, you don't have to print them front and back, but you can if you want. I've also considered maybe in the future, one side would be all players. So instead of having financial information here, we have a full minor league system, and then you can kind of shift players up. You can sign free agents, you can bring rookies up, you can drop rookies, or whatever you want to do. And then the back side of that would be all the financial information, and maybe adding a little bit more depth to the financial system, and then you can have that. So it would be players on one side, and then if you flip it over, it would be the financial information and team information on the back side. So a little something to think about. There's lots of little different ways that you can add different pieces to the game for tracking. Again, I'm just tracking it like this. So this would be, season 3, and then season 4 would come down here. Maybe I'll codify this a little bit and create an actual sheet for this. Same for the free agents, and maybe I'll have a free agent / rookies. And then you could do a real draft where you have rookies that each team, you just kind of do a serpentine draft from lowest to highest. That way the rookies are already made, and you can just fill out the rookies and the free agents each year, and then add any extra free agents that are let go by each of the teams. So there's lots of different ways to go with this game, and would be interested to hear people's thoughts and what they would homebrew when they get their hands on actually being able to play. So I think it's almost ready for some kind of beta system. I've made it through 3 seasons. I don't really feel like there's a whole lot left as far as making sure that the game plays from season to season. Now it's just adding all the fun bells and whistles that can get added to the game. Maybe maybe the off-season events we need more of these. Maybe we need more team upgrades. So those are things that we just have to kind of look at and really look at all these. So this one is great, a stadium upgrade. So you get a +1 to all home game rolls, which gives you just that little extra oomph to be the team. Again, you're working within a window of 2 to 12 on your rolls, so that's really the modifying roll. So an extra point goes a long way and counts for quite a bit. All right, I think I will end with that. If you want to see the other parts of the game, you can look at previous videos that I've done, the last 3 or 4. I also have a playlist now dedicated to Diamond Dynasty, which is what I'm calling this game. And if you're interested in this game, just let me know. Leave it down in the comments section. You can send me an email to clarkandaddisongaming@gmail.com, and I'll send you the files as I have them, and you can test out the game and let me know what you think about playing the game. And if I'd love to hear any feedback. This game is way in development still. Like I said, there's still a lot of things that can be added. I want it to be quick and fast to move through each season and not super laborious, but maybe there will be a more laborious advanced option if you want to get a little more in-depth, which might be kind of a fun way to go. But I wanted this to be just sort of a in and out in 30 minutes. You can play an entire season in a half hour. That way you can get through multiple seasons quickly. Sometimes with career games, the most difficult part is you want to get like down the line to see the narrative, to see the story unfold, and it sometimes can take a long time to get through those. And that was one of the things I loved about Out of the Park, is you could get through multiple seasons very quickly, kind of in one sitting in an hour or two, and you could get through several seasons and kind of see how your team is progressing. If you chose a particular strategy, how is that strategy working out for you? Is it going the way you thought? Do you need to make changes? And here, because the player progressions are on a 5-year scale, you kind of have that 5 years, 3 to 5 years to see how your team building is working. If you go only with homegrown talent, how does that work for your team? If you just are ruthless and you cut people who are less than a 4 or 5 and you go and you sign free agents, how's that working for you? Because you can't sign only free agents. You still have to get those rookies in there. And you might pop on one and get a 3, a skill level 3. It's kind of a chance with the dice rolls. But if you do get a couple of 3s like Port Morgan has, it's not Port Morgan, who is it? Pine Hollow. They have a couple of 3s, and now those are future stars that they don't have to cut a roster space and hope that there's a free agent or battle for different free agent players. Those are just homegrown. Nobody can touch them if they don't want to, if they want to protect them. So you can do a lot of cool things, I think, with the game. And just let me know what you think in the comments about the game itself. If you have any questions about what everything is, or if there's something that I glossed over that I shouldn't have, just let me know. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, click on subscribe and you'll get notified of new videos every time I post them. And if you want to support me further, either share this video, tell someone about the channel, tell someone about clarkandaddisongaming.com. Go there yourself and purchase the game. I have a full play baseball game called Precision Baseball, which is on the par with ballpark baseball and Dynasty League. If you're familiar with those, Pursue the Pennant, Dynasty League. So if you're familiar with that level of detail, it may even be more detailed than that. I've sort of had ChatGPT do a comparison between most of the games, and it's as detailed as any game that it can find that's on the market. And so a highly detailed, highly precise game using sabermetrics and left-right splits for everything. It's a very detailed game. I've sort of rolled in some of the things I've learned from multiple games that kind of got started a little bit but didn't finish. I've rolled those into this game. So you'll see bits and pieces of other games that maybe you've seen on this channel or you've seen me start, but not really finish. And that's because they got rolled into this game. So I'm looking at you, Quick Pitch. That's the game that got, it's the most like Quick Pitch. It's just more from the batter's perspective. And so Quick Pitch got, I'm not supporting that necessarily anymore, but it is a super fun game. And from the pitcher's perspective, which is interesting. So got baseball games, football, basketball. Check those out. AIG basketball is going to be rolling out. AIG hockey will be coming soon. AIG baseball, I think, will be coming soon as well. I just got to sort of go through and refine the process of doing classic seasons. Otherwise, I think that game is ready to rock and roll as well. AIG tennis. I haven't gotten really any feedback on that. If you want to play a new tennis game, you can email me as well and say, hey, I'd like to play AIG tennis. Or if you want to play the hockey game or you want to play the golf game, that's also a video that I have on here. Lots of people requesting to play the golf game, which right now we have Augusta National. That's the only one we have, but I've done the 2024 PGA, all the players on the PGA tours. It's 185 players carded. And you can go through and you can run a tournament at Augusta National. You can do the Masters, and there's a little bit of wind effect and some things like that, but generally guys who are not good are not going to shoot well, and guys who are really good are going to shoot well, and guys in the middle are going to be in the middle. So might be some surprises along the way, especially kind of jostling, good players. I've had some, Scheffler sometimes does really great. Sometimes he's middling, and sometimes the number 2, 3, 4 players are the ones who play the best. So it just kind of depends on their skills, their individual skills, and then each hole requires different skills. So up to 2 or 3 skills, or maybe it just looks at their overall skills, which is a rating as well. And so their skills don't come into play on every single hole. It's particular skills. Maybe this is a 575 yard par 5, and tee power and your iron play is super important, and your short game is really important. So those might be the 3 skills that you look at to modify your roll, and that modification of the roll will give you a better chance at a birdie or an eagle putt, or it'll give you maybe a chance to avoid a double or to avoid a bogey. But if you're not very good to start out with, and those skills are negative skills, it can push you out of a par or a birdie opportunity and into a bogey or double bogey opportunity. So it kind of works on a above average sort of scale with their skills. So you can either be +4 or -4 or something in between. And depending on your sort of mixture of skills, that will affect the modifying of the roll that you have. So you just got to check it out. I've got a few videos here on the channel. You can check that out. And so it's actually quite fun. And you can move through an entire round pretty easily. If you're just playing a twosome or you're playing a single player, you can move through a round in 5 or 10 minutes. It's not a super intensive kind of game. You're sort of rolling for the final score, but you're rolling based off of the player's skill levels against that particular hole on that particular course. So a little bit different way of looking at a golf game, and so maybe that's something you could check out as well. And so I have a whole line of AIG games. There's another racing game that you can find on here maybe a month or 2 ago, and that racing game is super fun. There's a lot of really interesting decisions that you have to make in the game, and do you pass, do you go outside, do you stay back, do you draft somebody? So there's sort of all the normal things you would think would be in a racing game, but in a very simplified format. But you have to keep up with the wear and tear on your car when you pit. It's got some interesting decisions to make as far as strategies, and that would be a crazy fun game to do with other people against just rolling for each car and making those decisions yourself. It's okay, but I can imagine playing with 3 or 4 other people, and that game will be a lot of fun. So you can check that out as well. I can send you that game if you're interested. Just email me. All right. I've taken up enough of your time this morning. I appreciate everyone's support, and this game is coming along very well. I will move on to Season 4, and I'll post on Facebook how Season 4 is coming along, and post about the, maybe I'll do a little write-up about the first 3 seasons, and just, sharing how have players done. We obviously are following some future stars, so we can see their development as well and where they are. And I don't know, it's got a fun narrative to this game, so I'll continue to do that. And if you want to play this game, you can email me at clarkandaddisongaming@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to send you these files, and you can play through several seasons if you want. You just print new team cards for each season, and then you just transfer the players over. You fill in the gaps, and just watch the different videos. It shows you how to go through the off season, how to do the regular season, and then this one, obviously, how to do the financials and the wrap up. All right. I think that's it from here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.